I wish I could start on a happier note, but unfortunately, we're faced with some very severe problems. And that some environmental organizations and others reject waste energy and the use of the biofraction of municipal waste as a renewable fuel. And this rejection of waste energy is just making our problems worse in terms of encouraging the use of more landfills, some of which have some severe pollution problems. In the 1980s, we really had a problem of toxic emissions from improper solid waste incinerators, older systems that were improperly controlled. And we had dioxins and heavy metal emissions, whatever. But now we realize that while this was true of other industrial processes as well, coal-fired power plants, steel mills, and other operations, new technologies have solved these pollution problems. Now, I began my career here in New York City in '62, and I was opposed to these older incinerators and the apartment house incinerators. I spoke out about that many times. And when I was with the Environmental Conservation Department, we closed down some of these old monsters, like this one up in Amsterdam, New York, which was a horrible polluter. You just had rudimentary controls, and it was really awful. And I took a lead in fighting for best available control technology standards to control these toxic emissions. I'm proud to have worked with Dr. Aaron Teller, who is the former dean at Cooper Union, in advocating dry scrubbing technologies. And this is one of the first dry scrubbers we've ever seen. It's upstate New York at an aluminum plant. And this technology goes back to 1969. Now we have systems that control dioxins, mercury, meet the EPA and European standards, as Dr. Themelis pointed out. And we know that we have a significant problem. For example, particulate emissions from hundreds of thousands of diesel trucks going to landfills emit about 5 times more particulate than if these wastes were burned in modern waste energy systems. And there are other problematic emissions from trucks as well, including dioxins. But these are some pictures of some of the modern facilities. This is CMAS outside of Rochester, Mass, that Dr. Themelis pointed out. And they do an excellent job in converting waste to energy after maximum recycling has been accomplished. We did some calculations, and New York City could be responsible for as much as 2 million tons a year of greenhouse gas emissions from landfills. We know that landfills also leak toxins in the air, volatile organic compounds. There are household and illicit hazardous waste that go into landfills that reform other chemicals, things like vinyl chloride. And there are problems with some chemicals that can even attack liners and cause potential groundwater pollution. The bottom line is, I think we have to learn, as Europe has banned landfills, that the organic waste should not be landfilled. Now, for the foreseeable future, we cannot recycle everything. Japan and Europe generate much less waste than we do, and yet they rely on waste to energy for non-recyclable waste. Plastics are a big problem, and after a lot of effort, less than 15% of plastic wastes are recycled here in the U.S. or anywhere. because, and this has nothing to do with goodwill or effort, it has to do with some very practical, technical, and economic reasons. Non-recyclable plastics are full of energy from petroleum, and they should be used as fuel and not landfilled in some converted green field. Unfortunately, New York State does not recognize the use of the biofraction of municipal solid waste as a renewable fuel because of wrongly placed opposition to waste energy. Okay, we should be converting waste that can't be economically recycled. There are a lot of technologies. We should be focusing in on keeping waste out of landfills and to recover energy from our waste. We must reduce our reliance on foreign fuels from troublesome nations, and a ton of municipal solid waste is equal to a barrel of oil. And New York City, which experienced power shortages due to transmission problems, had a shortage in Queens last summer, could generate perhaps enough electricity from waste to power 250,000 more homes if they went to waste to energy to solve their waste disposal problems. I just want to say at the end that zero waste certainly is an admirable goal for the present and future generations. We should encourage more recycling, remanufacture things so that there's less waste, but zero waste disposal should be our goal now to prevent environmental problems and make our environment better. Thank you.